Welcome to this daily PBJ devotional. Read 1 Chronicles 9 and 10 and Amos 6 today. This devotional, believe it or not, is about 1 Chronicles 9. So all Israel was recorded in the genealogies written in the book of the kings of Israel. But Judah was exiled to Babylon because of their unfaithfulness. Now the first to resettle their own property in their cities were Israelites, priests, Levites, and temple servants. There were also some of the descendants of Judah, Benjamin, Ephraim, and Manasseh who lived in Jerusalem. Uthai, son of Ammihud, the son of Omri, the son of Imri, the son of Bani, a descendant of Perez, son of Judah. From the Shilonites, Asaiah, the firstborn, and his sons. From the Zerahites, Jewel and 690 relatives. From the Benjamites, Salu, son of Meshullam, the son of Hodaviah, the son of Hasenuah. Ibniah, son of Jeroham. Elah, son of Uzzi, the son of Mishri. Meshullam, son of Shephatiah, the son of Ruel, the son of Ibnijah. And 956 of their relatives, according to their genealogy. All these men were heads of their families. From the priests, Jedaiah, Jehoiarib, and Jashin. Azariah, son of Hilkiah, the son of Meshullam, the son of Zadok, the son of Miraioth, the son of Ahitub, the chief official of God's temple. Adiah, son of Jeroham, the son of Pashur, the son of Malchijah. Messiah, son of Adiel, the son of Jazirah, the son of Meshullam, the son of Meshullemeth, the son of Immer, and 1,760 of their relatives, the heads of their families, able men for the work of the service of the house of God. From the Levites, Shemaiah, son of Hashab, the son of Azrikam, the son of Hashabiah, a descendant of Merari. Backbaker, Harish, Galal, and Mattaniah, son of Micah, son of Zikri, the son of Asaph. Obadiah, son of Shemaiah, the son of Galal, the son of Jeduthun, and Berechiah, son of Asa, the son of Elkanah, who lived in the villages of the Netophathites. These were the gatekeepers, Shallum, Akub, Talmon, Ahiman, and their relatives. Shallum was their chief. He was previously stationed at the King's Gate on the east side. These were the gatekeepers from the camp of the Levites. Shallum, son of Kor, the son of Abiasath, the son of Korah, and his relatives from the Korahites were assigned to guard the thresholds of the tent, just as their fathers had been assigned to guard the entrance to the dwelling of the Lord. In earlier times, Phinehas, son of Eleazar, had been in charge of the gatekeepers, and the Lord was with him. Zechariah, son of Meshelemiah, was the gatekeeper at the entrance to the tent of meeting. The number of those chosen to be gatekeepers at the thresholds was 212. They were registered by genealogy in their villages. David and Samuel the seer had appointed them to their positions of trust. So they and their descendants were assigned to guard the gates of the house of the Lord, the house called the tent. The gatekeepers were stationed on the four sides, east, west, north, and south. Their relatives came from their villages at fixed times to serve with them for 7-day periods. But the four chief gatekeepers, who were Levites, were entrusted with the rooms and the treasuries of the house of God. They would spend the night stationed around the house of God because they were responsible for guarding it and opening it every morning. Some of them were in charge of the articles used in worship, to count them whenever they were brought in or taken out. Others were put in charge of the furnishings and other articles of the sanctuary, as well as the fine flour, wine, oil, frankincense, and spices. And some of the sons of the priest mixed the spices. A Levite named Mattathiah, the firstborn of Shallum the Korahite, was entrusted with baking the bread. Some of their Kohathite brothers were responsible for preparing the rows of the showbread every Sabbath. Those who were musicians, the head of Levite families, stayed in the temple chambers and were exempt from other duties because they were on duty day and night. All these were heads of Levite families, chiefs according to their genealogies, and they lived in Jerusalem. Jael, the father of Gibeon, lived in Gibeon. His wife's name was Makkah. Abdon was his firstborn son, then Zur, Kish, Baal, Ner, Nadab, Gedor, Ahio, Zechariah, and Mikloth. Mikloth was the father of Shimim. They too lived alongside their relatives in Jerusalem. Ner was the father of Kish. Kish was the father of Saul, and Saul was the father of Jonathan, Malchishua, Abinadab, and Eshbaal. The son of Jonathan, Merib-Baal, who was the father of Micah. The sons of Micah, Pithon, Melech, Tahariah, and Ahaz. Ahaz was the father of Jarah. Jarah was the father of Elameth, Asmaveth, and Zimri. And Zimri was the father of Moza. Moza was the father of Beniah. Raphiah was his son, Elasa his son, and Ezel had 6 sons, and these were their names: Azrikam, Basharu, Ishmael, Shiriah, Obadiah, and Hanan. These were the sons of Ezel. This is God's word. I did not go into ministry so that I could decide what color to paint the walls in the hallway of the church building. I did not go to seminary to learn what a 501c3 corporation is and what government rules apply to it. I did not accept the position of senior pastor to spend my life poring over budgets and financial reports. I do not study the Bible to try to get people to give more money to the church, spend more time serving in the body, or just show up regularly and on time for the worship service on Sunday. I don't get paid to order guitar strings or bulbs for the projector or copier paper. I went into ministry to serve the Lord. I did it to study and teach God's word. I serve the Lord to equip God's people to reach out to others with the gospel. But all the stuff on that list above and more is necessary. It is mundane, and in the light of eternity, doesn't seem to matter very much. But it does matter, because it enables us to serve the Lord, to minister to people, and everything else that goes along with being the Lord's church in this age. Our last few days reading 1 Chronicles have taken us through this lengthy genealogy. Maybe you've skipped reading these chapters, and I don't blame you if you have, but they are worth reading because they matter. Here in chapter 9, we read about the names of the first men who returned to Jerusalem after the Babylonian captivity ended. We saw that in verses 2 and following. Many of these people were priests, Levites, and temple servants, according to verse 2. These people were listed by name in verses 10 through 21. We understand from reading the Old Testament what priests do. They offer sacrifices and teach God's people the law. You can see that in verse 13. The Levites were an entire tribe of the descendants of Levi that God had set apart for his ministry. Some of them were priests. All priests were Levites, but not all Levites were priests. In fact, most of the Levites were not priests, but served in more mundane ways. This chapter lists them by name in verses 14 through 21 and gives us some insight into their duties. In verses 22 through 27, we are told that some of these people were guards. Yes, God's temple had its own private security. These men were there to keep the temple from being robbed, according to verses 26 and 27. Verse 28 tells us that some of these men were accountants. Well, sort of accountants. Accountants count things, and these men were counting the equipment used in the Lord's service. Their work made sure that nothing got stolen. That is, in part, what modern accountants do, too. Verse 29 tells us that some of these men were a bit like janitors. They made sure that the things needed for the Lord's service were in good working condition, and that the temple had all the supplies it needed for the ministry. Verses 30 through 32 tells us that some of these men were like cooks. They, according to the NIV, they took care of mixing the spices, according to verse 30, while others baked the bread that was used in the temple, according to verses 31 and 32. Verse 33 tells us that there were musicians as well. They got free apartments in the temple and were not required to do other things besides play and sing with great skill. So here we have, recorded in the pages of Holy Writ, the names of men who served the Lord in more basic ways than we usually think about. More basic than the ways that the priests who taught God's word and did the sacrifices did. Now, they didn't write like Isaiah, preach like Elijah, or inquire of the Lord like Abiathar did. But their work was important because it made the temple a safe place to come and worship, as well as one that had everything the worshipers needed at all times. In our church, we have people who count the money that is collected in the offerings on Sunday. They work in teams, and they make sure that every penny is counted and accounted for with absolute integrity. We have others in our church who account for the finances of the church and prepare financial statements. Some of you come in and clean the church on Saturday night. Some prepare the elements for communion when we celebrate that. Some clean the baptistry and the changing rooms before we baptize. Some get up early to buy donuts and make coffee. Some come in the evening or on Saturday to repair chairs or replace burned out bulbs or broken light fixtures. All of this stuff needs to be done, and you do it faithfully. So faithfully, in fact, that nobody thinks about it because it's always just ready. At times, these tasks may seem tedious. They might get old, and you might wish that you could spend some time doing something more fun. In those moments, remember 1 Chronicles 9. God knows the names of everyone who serves him. He sees your work that is done for his glory, and he will reward you for loving him and his body in those ways that are often overlooked. Now, if you're not serving the Lord in any capacity, why not? There's something that everyone can do. God sees and rewards even the most basic acts of service that are done in his name. So let me encourage you to find a place to serve the Lord and to serve him faithfully there as part of your worship. And I'll see you next time. May God bless you. Hope you have a great day today.